His name is Isaiah Thomas, and these hands pull the trigger for the Detroit Pistons. He is known around the NBA as pocket magic, and when it comes to crunch time, it'll be Thomas taking the big shot for Detroit. After putting away the New Jersey Nets, Thomas and the Pistons now come to Boston. And awaiting the Pistons is that familiar scowl of a superstar, Larry Bird. Bird has been playing in pain this spring, an injured elbow. But pain alone cannot extinguish the competitive fire of this marvelous athlete. In Game 4, it was Larry Bird putting away the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a gorgeous Sunday afternoon here in Boston, Massachusetts, but all eyes are on the Boston Garden. It's Larry Bird and the Celtics going to war against Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons. And round one of this battle between Boston and Detroit will be waged right here in the Boston Garden. The winner, of course, will play for the Eastern Conference Championship. And in the other bracket, the Philadelphia 76ers today took a 1-0 lead, and they did it with power against Milwaukee. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I'm Brent Musburger. Injury is such a big factor once you get into the playoffs. Larry Bird, injured right elbow. He told me inside the Celtic locker room that elbow feels better than it has in some time. How about Cedric Maxwell, the knee, such a critical factor for the Celtics? He just stopped by and told us the knee is feeling better. Now it is the mental process, according to the Celtic trainers. As for the Pistons, they're healthy, except for the man in the mask. Backup center Earl Curtin. He suffered a broken nose in the victory over the New Jersey Nets in Game 3. Pleasure for me to be working alongside the coach of the New York Knickerbockers, Hubie Brown. Hubie, what kind of a series is going to unfold here between Detroit now and Boston?
I think we could see an explosive, fast-breaking type of a game, even after made field goals. They played 6 times this year. Boston averaged 121 points, and Detroit 117. Explosive type of attack.
The most explosive player on the Pistons is Isaiah Thomas. Can you show me and the audience exactly what he does to lead this team?
Well, I think what we'd have to do, Brent, is possibly get into Chuck Daly's workshop. So how about if we drop to our knees and give a little bit of an example off of a board. First of all, after every score, Bill Laimbeer will take the ball out of bounds and inbound it quickly to Isaiah Thomas. We will see this pushing of the ball up the right side of the floor. It's called sideline right. We'll see it maybe 10 to 18 times during this game. They are looking for Dan Roundfield to quickly flash into the low post and get into a 2-man game with Isaiah Thomas. While that is happening, Bill Laimbeer is trailing the play, coming down and setting a pick on the opposite side of the lane for Kelly Tripucka. While Tripucka is coming off, that opens up this area for Isaiah Thomas to go one-on-one. Now, if you hug in defense Roundfield, Isaiah has a lot of ground here to move. Here comes Kelly for the jump shot. They bring Laimbeer back for a post-up. Nothing. Reverse the ball to John Long on the opposite side of the floor. Repost Bill Laimbeer into the power game.
Hubie, you didn't say at the end, just get it to Bernard.
No.
Coming up now, it's Game 1. It's the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. And we'll have the starting lineups when we continue in just a moment.
The NBA on CBS. Today's playoff game is sponsored by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. The Gates Rubber Company, for over 60 years, a world leader in automotive belts and hoses. And by Allstate, for home, auto, business, health, and life. You're in good hands with Allstate.
We just found out that Booby here drinks the same beer as me, Corky, Sparky, Buck, and Boom Boom. Light beer from Miller. Now, Booby, Buck, and Boom Boom like light because it's got a third less calories than the regular beer and it's less filling, while Corky and Sparky drink it for the great taste. So Boom Boom, Buck, and Booby don't necessarily drink it for the same reason as Sparky and Corky. They all agree that light's the best beer to buy. Isn't that right, Booby?
You bet, Boom Boom.
Right, Buck?
You got it, Corky.
What about that, Sparky?
You said it, Boog.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
When you drive a tough Ford truck, there's one place you'll want to be.
On the road again. My Ford truck and me on the road again.
Work or play, there can't be any tougher friend. I can't wait to get on the road again, on the road again. Just can't wait to see what's around the bend. When you drive a Ford, you're driving with a friend. My Ford truck and me on the road again.
We are back live in the Boston Garden. Let's take a look now at the starting lineups for these two fine teams. Detroit comes in here with an 8-game winning streak, and their coach Chuck Daly's accomplished more in 2 years than any coach in Piston history. Trapuka is up front with Roundfield. Roundfield powerful. Trapuka the scorer. Lanebeer the key man in the middle. Thomas runs the team for him, and Long works in the backcourt. Up against K.C. Jones, trying to win back-to-back championships in his first 2 years as Celtic coach. The MVP Bird, along with McHale and Parrish, hoping to get help from Maxwell. The backcourt defensively will be the focus with these guys. Johnson, Ainge, and Williams off the bench, and they've got a shutdown on Isaiah Thomas. The officials, Earl Strom, Paul Mahalik, and Jim Capers sitting across the way. He is the alternate, and we are set to go, and anything can happen when the playoffs begin. And if you don't believe that, just ask the Houston Rockets, who lost to Utah 104-97 in Game 5. So the Jazz and Frank Layden are underway. Isaiah goes inside on the penetration. Lanebeer. Bird. Ball is turned over on the dribble. It'll go to the Pistons.
That was an excellent double team by Detroit, and I think we might see that quite a bit today, that they will run at Bird and try to make him give up the ball.
Bird taking Trapuka. Look at the quickness of Thomas. Bird's second rebound. Lanebeer dueling Parrish. Long is with Ainge. Roundfield will take McHale. Ainge. Short. Roundfield off to Thomas.
3-on-2.
Long turned it over.
The Celtic guards are going to have to prove early that they can make the outside shot. In the Cleveland series, the three guards shot a combined 39% from the outside.
Piston coach Daly up, barking defensive orders. Ainge. Long rebound. Trapuka. Roundfield and Ainge go after it. Pistons ball.
What we have now is people are a little tight. This is a big series. This is the first time that Detroit has been in the second round, you know, for quite a few years.
Roundfield just batted it back to Thomas, but that indicated how tight it is even to hold on to the ball right now.
I think that we'll be seeing Larry Bird posting Kelly Trapuka early. They went to it the last time down, but they swung to the other side of the floor. Here it is again. But there's the quick double team.
Lanebeer to double team, so they pass away from that, and the foul underneath the basket.
See, Lanebeer must stay away from that early, Brent. He cannot afford to get into foul trouble. They want to double Bird as much as possible, force Bird to make the pass, and then create the second pass. But Lanebeer, how should we say, cannot get the cheap foul. The cheap reach in. If he's going to block the shot, go with your entire body.
Thomas again bringing it up. Quarterbacking this team as he will all game long.
Now the second way of freeing Isaiah Thomas for Detroit is what they call a high pick and roll with Lanebeer.
McHale traveled. It'll go to Detroit.
Well, we know that McHale has averaged 29 points a game against Detroit over the course of the year and even had 56 in one game. Here's that pick and roll again on either side of the floor. Great pass by Zeke.
Parrish and Thomas is there, almost stole it. They get it out to Dennis Johnson. Long with a hand on it. Ainge runs it down. McHale. Trapuka.
The Celtics transition defense has been excellent early. They're rotating and getting back into the lane. We have a quick 20-second timeout by the Celtics. I think they really don't like the type of shots that they're getting at their end of the floor.
There is a feeling in this city that the Celtics are beatable, and that is extremely unusual when you visit Boston. Last year, it was a confident town and a confident franchise. It is a combination, I think, Hubie, of the injuries plus the fact that sometimes the intensity is not there when you come back the second year and attempt to repeat as the NBA champion.
Yeah, but injuries to key people always dictate that. And they know that they are out of sync. Anytime that you have to start Bird, McHale, and Parrish and keep them out on the floor 42 to 44 minutes at playoff time, it wears you down. They need Maxwell to give them 30 definite minutes night in and night out where he gets the rebounds, gives you the good defense, and scores double figures.
Long.
Well, that time they ran a double screen on the baseline for John Long. We will see that an awful lot off of a missed shot or a field goal. Detroit will push it up and double screen down and open up the floor for Isaiah Thomas or a possible jump shot.
Spinning Larry Bird.
That was a forced shot by Bird. Definitely forced, but he had a smaller man inside of him.
Flips it to Long. He is something.
Oh, John Long can knock that one down all day. You cannot afford to let him get his feet up underneath him. And it's almost like a push shot, not a true wide-open, explosive jumper.
Bird rattling out. Offensive rebound by Ainge.
They're going to pop Bird out right here on the side. One-on-one versus Tripucka.
Back to TJ.
Well, anytime you think that you can double team off the man who's cutting, you're in trouble, and that was evident.
Thomas. Parrish. Thomas. Celtics rebound. This figures to be a fast tempo series.
Well, Casey's trying to slow it up to take advantage of this mismatch right here.
Bird.
He knows that Bird can shoot over the top of Tripucka every time or take him off the dribble, back him down, muscle him. If they are going to keep double teaming, why not go to that?
Tripucka. Strong offensive move. He must keep Bird active at that end.
Absolutely. They know that Tripucka is excellent off the dribble.
Bird comes back and hits. Tripucka went out of bounds following his field goal and was late coming back.
Detroit wants a 20-second right here. Kelly Tripucka has pulled up a little lame. It's in his leg. Might be a reoccurrence of his hamstring.
Let's get you up to date. That's our situation now. Last night, or yesterday afternoon, actually, the Lakers ran past Portland. Byron Scott had 20 points. Earlier this afternoon, some action you might have seen on CBS. Mo Malone and the 76ers, 127 over Milwaukee, 105, and they did it easily. They led all game long. Then the one that just ended, of course, the Utah Jazz advanced to the next round. They win in 5. Adrian Dantley was the leader. And Hubie, Frank Layton did a great job. His big center was injured, unable to play. Was that the Whopper I saw out there?
That's right. We saw Whopper getting big playing time. Billy Paultz. And I know that he's a stabilizing force. He's been in the playoffs for so many years. It's almost like Methuselah coming back. And it was nice to see him, you know, make a heavy contribution. I'm very happy for Frank. Anytime you room with a guy in college, you like to see him keep going. And they're in the second round now. Nice.
That's right. You two were roommates up at Niagara. We'll see Frank along the way now. Roundfield coming up. McHale rebounds. The Celtics have put together 4 straight field goals.
Well, they're going to exhaust the 2-man game right here.
Make it 5.
See, by feeding the ball in with Danny Ainge and then cutting through. They're forcing Detroit to make a decision. One-on-one defense, Larry Bird, or trap him and let the cutter go through.
Offensive foul on Isaiah. He was pressing in with his right elbow as he tried to get through the corner.
Excellent anticipation by Danny Ainge. He knows that when Isaiah goes on the crossover with a player on the low post, he must get into the lane area. Good anticipation for the charge.
This 5 in a row is a 10-4 run by the defending champions. That's 6 straight. And it puts Boston up 15-14.
Somebody's wide open.
Tripucka tried to go to Lanebeer, who did not anticipate the pass.
Well, that time we had 2 Celtics see the double screen for Kelly Tripucka. They both switched out, leaving Roundfield open on the baseline. Unfortunately, Kelly did not see him.
McHale and Roundfield muscling each other inside, and the foul is on Roundfield. Hubie, I think a lot of people are surprised that Roundfield was not a stronger force with the Pistons this year.
Well, unfortunately for Danny, he missed 27 games this year with an injury. Here they go right at him again. See, McHale's hook is unstoppable. Never mind the 6'11" side. Pickpocket beautifully in the backcourt by Dennis Johnson. Here comes McHale again.
Long foul.
Very strong move by Kevin. And he came with his right hand, which was quite surprising because Long thought that he would stop and come back with a baby hook. For Kevin, this series, he can shoot over the top of the majority of the players who will play him for Detroit, and they're not going to muscle him around. He came out of a Cleveland series where Lonnie Shelton and people worked him over.
Thomas ends that run by the Celtics.
Beautiful.
Parrish faking well.
Beautiful up and under fake. Robert Parrish has that move down as well as anyone in pro basketball.
Knocked away by Ainge and out of bounds.
Well, Ainge has been gambling on Isaiah. He knows he's in a mismatch as far as quickness goes. But he's gambling, and he's anticipated one charge and then caused a turnover.
Thomas's three-pointer. McHale. Behind the defense, fouled by Ranfield. 2 on Danny and Daly. Of course, now will have to go to the bench early in the game.
One thing as a coach, when you play Boston, you are in constant fear of when they score, of them jumping out of bounds, Parrish or Bird, throwing the long pass to a player who has released. And that time, even though Detroit scored, McHale beat everyone down the floor.
Already we have 4 team fouls against Detroit and none against the Celtics in this quarter. Throughout the course of the season, I was noticing in the free throw statistics that the Celtics got to the line about 100 more times than the Pistons did when they met. Now, why would that be? Such a disparity there.
Well, because Detroit basically is a perimeter team. None of their players are what we would call horses in the low post area, power people. Where the Boston Celtics, let's face it, are dominantly 3 big guys who are posting you up time and time again.
Tripucka with a hand, and on the turnover, it's Long.
That was a forced pass, a very bad angle pass by Kevin McHale.
Tripucka from the corner. They have noticed the mask that is being worn by Earl Curriton, who checked in. He suffered a broken nose in Game 3 against the New Jersey Nets, accidentally hit by Buck Williams. Johnson.
Well, it's okay if you're going to drop off and challenge the shot. Now, Cleveland proved that they could do that in their series with Boston to their guards. But unfortunately, somebody must pick up the guard once he puts the ball down on the dribble.
Tripucka 2 in a row. But the Celtics have hit 9 in a row. 3:30. First period. Parrish tries to make it 10.
There it is again. Parrish to post you on the dotted line inside the lane. Now, they have done it twice early.
Deflected and then off the glass, and McHale just couldn't get a handle on it.
Well, Dennis Johnson is a little perturbed with himself because I think if he had that pass back, Brent, he would have thrown a bounce pass. The bounce pass area was open. He did force it through.
Long. Roundfield's offensive rebound. McHale off the Johnson.
Here's your double team.
Parrish gets behind. Roundfield cannot handle Parrish.
Now, well, the first thing is you cannot gamble on a low post player like that. If you go over the top of the player, and now he receives the pass. For Robert Parrish, he's 4 to 6 feet from the basket.
Parrish looking outlet. He'll go to Ames. Quick pass to McHale's a beauty. QB, why did Coach Daly call that quick timeout?
Well, first of all, we see a good example right here. Kelly Tripucka is forcing a long shot. That was their third long jumper in a row, which definitely ignites the fast break. Now, here we come right here. A great pass by Bird, a strong move by McHale. And if there's anything that starts the break quicker than anything else, other than a steal, it's the long rebound that comes off of a missed jump shot from a great distance.
The Celtics are getting their points closer to the hoop than Detroit.
Oh, absolutely. Here's the guy that has to give it to them. See, Roundfield must have a good game. In the games that Roundfield and Tripucka have started, they're 19-6 during the course of the season, Brent. But Danny has to prove that they can go to him and he can make McHale work defensively.
Beautiful position tap in by Danny Ainge, who ran to the spot. Criticized for his performance in Game 4 against the Cavaliers. He's come out with a little fire here in the opener against Detroit. Roundfield gets the roll.
Well, Danny is an excellent face-up jump shooter from 15 to 17 feet from basket.
Parrish coming up on Curitan. McHale trying to tap it in. Detroit comes away. And Earl Strom let him play underneath, didn't he? McHale.
They're looking to post again. See, Earl Curitan must challenge that shot. You know, he's not going to be on the floor for 30 to 40 minutes. He's out there. He can use his 6 fouls. He must show that his shot blocking ability. He cannot allow Robert Parrish to keep shooting over him that close to the rim.
Curitan.
What I like about the Celtics in the last 6 minutes is they're getting what they want. They're dictating every single offensive time down the floor.
Offensive foul on McHale.
Well, I think Roundfield guessed properly that time. Like I say, when you play low post people that are clever, you know, when you guess and you get one, that's fine. But how many times are they scoring in your face if you miss when you go for that steal? We have 16 seconds right now, 11 seconds on the shot clock.
Isaiah Thomas gets it done against one of the best defensive guards in basketball.
6 seconds. 6 seconds.
And that's the end of the first period here in the Boston Garden. The Celtics 35 and the Pistons 29. Back ready to start the second period. The leading scores in that first period. No surprise, Isaiah Thomas with the 13. Parrish 13, and that indicates the Celtics' strength inside. Now, Kent Benson has checked into the game for Detroit. The Celtics opened the game shooting 1 of 6. Then to close out the period, they hit 14 of 17, including 12 in a row. Ray Williams is 20, going to Parrish. That's where the Celtics have been shooting much of the game, is right inside.
See, I just want to bring a point up to our fans. Anytime that you front the low post player and try for a steal, not only if he gets the pass, he gets the shot up, but he's also in excellent position for the rebound. And consequently, your defensive player is out of sync.
Benson at the field goal. Bird motors right around it. Missed his shot, though, and Benson off with the rebound. And here is Vinnie Johnson. Trapuka losing. Thomas. Bird rebounded. So it's Bird, Williams, Parrish, Ainge, and Scott Whitman on the floor for Casey Jones. Curitan, Trapuka, Thomas, Johnson, and Benson for Chuck Daly.
Now here we have a double pin down right here for Vinnie Johnson. When Vinnie comes in, they like to get him shots right away to establish an offensive game. Because Vinnie can be extremely explosive, and he doesn't need a lot of shots to score.
Wedman. Williams. That's where he's been helpful to the Celtics, in close to the basket the last couple of games.
Well, Ray has always been an excellent rebounding guard, either at the offensive or defensive end of the floor.
Johnson's pass pretty to Benson.
That was a beautiful, beautiful pick and roll. And when Vinnie picked up that pass in the lane and went for his shot, he was double teamed. Beautiful pass off.
Timeout. White.
A Celtic timeout.
I tell you, Ray Williams right now is dragging his leg. And I don't know whether or not that was the reason.
So the playoff picture looks this way in the Eastern Conference, of course. This is game 1 between Boston and Detroit. Earlier this afternoon, Philadelphia opened up a lead on Milwaukee when they won the first game in Milwaukee. Out west, the situation is this. The Los Angeles Lakers lead Portland by a win. And in the other bracket, game 5 today was won by Utah. They have eliminated Houston. Now San Antonio and Denver will play their 5th game tonight in Denver. They are tied at 2 victories apiece, and the winner of that goes on to meet the Utah Jazz. Terry Tyler preparing to check in here for the Pistons as Daly continues to rotate. He has a lot of depth on that bench, several of these players having started around the league, and Tyler is one of the Iron Men. He doesn't miss any games.
Well, Terry's played 7 consecutive years without missing a ball game. This is Chuck's second line with Benson at big forward, Curitan at center, and Terry Tyler at small forward. They have been big contributors, especially down the stretch where Detroit has won their last 8 games. Here comes Bird on the baseline.
Spinning inside away from Benson, but just can't hit his shot. Johnson rebounding. Pistons are within 4. Johnson doesn't roll. Curitan knocks it away from Wedman. It'll go to Boston.
Up until now, I think that Chuck Daly has to be satisfied with the score of the game, but I think that he must be a little disappointed in the shot selection of his ball club.
McHale returning, and Parrish will sit down. But again, the question arises. We have not seen Cedric Maxwell. We're at 9:40 left in the first half. Williams. Long runs it down for Detroit. The longer he stays out, the more confidence Detroit has to gather in this series. Long. No! Rammed in by Benson.
Wow, the Celtics wanted a goaltending that time. That was set up beautifully, that fast break. Vinnie Johnson yelled to Curitin to go through on the fast break to open up John Long on the side. That was beautiful because he knew Ray Williams was behind his defensive man.
Three-pointer by Bird misses. Bounced right to McHale, who goes to Wedman.
Scotty's still hot. Came in at 30, substituting for Bird in Game 3 versus Cleveland. Paul Mihalik caught Wedman holding around the waist that time. Scotty always plays his defensive man on the top side. And that time, unfortunately for him, he had a hold of the shirt and was caught.
Johnson bangs one in. Long hanging with Williams. Dribbled himself into a bit of trouble that time. Ball knocked out of bounds, and Dennis Johnson returns, and Ainge will sit down. Larry Bird is shooting only 3 of 9 so far here in the first half.
Illegal defense picked up by Earl Strong.
Free throw line, free throw.
You coaches never use illegal defense.
No, absolutely not. We play man-to-man. Everyone hugs one another. All right.
Benson reached over Bird that time, knocked the ball away, and here come the Pistons. They can tie it. Benson feels it. Wouldn't stay in.
Oh, that time Vinnie Johnson caught Scott Wedman in the low back, pushed him underneath the backboard. That's what the Celtic fans are all yelling about down on the baseline.
Bird. Tyler came over that time to help Benson. It's going to be on Benson.
The manner that Detroit is using in regards to trapping people, they have forced Larry Bird to take 4 of his 10 shots so far off balance. Now, Bird is a type of a player that the degree of difficulty sometimes really doesn't matter. But I think that it's even making him look a little out of sync on the release of the shot.
Johnson puts it on the floor for Detroit. Long.
See, you must make John Long put the ball on the floor. Whenever he catches the ball out on the wing like that, you have to challenge him to put it down. He's not as good off the dribble shooting as he is standing still.
Dennis Johnson.
That was superb defense. Superb.
Foul on Bird. Caught Tyler his first.
They're trying to post up Scott Wedman using Terry Tyler in the low post area. Chuck Daly has a lot of confidence in the posting of Terry Tyler. He said he really underestimated him in the low area as an offensive scorer.
Johnson again.
Vinny's murder. Anytime that he gets inside of the circle or gets into the painted area, he's dynamite. He has an excellent elevation, and he usually can get up high and shoot over his defensive man.
Foul on Tyler, and that is the second team foul against the Pistons. 3 against the Celtics here. 7:15 to go, first half. Wedman.
Scott took Terry Tyler that time easily. He gave him a beautiful head fake and then beat him on a crossover dribble. They're bringing Benson in. Here's your double screen away.
Long again. Bird rebounded. On the floor for the Celtics. Johnson, Wedman, McHale, Bird. And there's Johnson. They lead at 46-43. 6:37 in the first half. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinal. The winner will take on either Philadelphia or Milwaukee.
They're opening up the floor now for Vinnie Johnson. This is called a 1-4 set.
Benson.
Benny wanted a foul shot on that one. He was hit on the elbow on the release of the shot. Beautiful, beautiful pass. That was a beautiful bounce pass by Dennis Johnson. Larry Bird flashed into the dotted line area and caught his man.
Get it up.
Gorgeous feed.
Benson is helping Detroit offensively with 8 points, but he has his hands full with Bird. Wedman.
Here's where Benson is at his best. He anticipates the passing lanes as well as any big forward in the game. He might not have super quickness, but his anticipation is the equal.
Hard to beat playoff basketball, isn't it? Here we've got 5:49 going in the first half, and still that question lingers. What about Cedric Maxwell? He came off the bench to score 5 points and 4 rebounds in 23 minutes in Game 4 against the Cavaliers, but we have not seen him yet in this contest.
Well, it's like we said at the top of the show, Brent. He has to prove that he can rebound and then cover with quickness the small forwards in transition. And maybe they feel that he's not capable of doing that. This pace is pretty quick.
Meanwhile, Detroit has outscored Boston's bench 16-6. McHale. Bird stays with it. Parrish.
The Celtics are just killing them on the offensive boards. The center cannot get all of the rebounds by himself. They need the guards back in there to help out as much as possible, Detroit.
Lane Beer has returned for the Pistons. McHale taking him defensively. Isaiah puts a move on Ray Williams. Comes up short. Tyler tips it. Williams has got control. Strom says let him play.
Ray was right up on Isaiah Thomas's shot. There's another
anticipating. He's got an open man. Thomas waits for Tyler, and Williams fouls.
They might want to have had that one back. I think if Zeke had to do it again, he would have taken it to the basket. Here he is right now. Beautiful anticipation, long pass. Now watch this. I think that if he would have taken it himself, he could have drawn the defensive and then handed it off. Now, you say, well, we're getting the 2 foul shots right now. But I think that every coach in that situation would rather have the definite layup with the possible 3-point foul.
And finally, the Pistons get a point at the free throw line. The Celtics have scored 6 already.
This second unit for Detroit with Tyler, Benson, and Curtin has played excellent defensively in anticipating the passing lanes and creating the fast break.
And offensively, Hubie, they've scored 15 of Detroit's 17 second period points.
Well, we have Lambier back in here now for Curtin, but they need Lambier to rebound. You know, he's one of the top rebounders in the league at 12 a game.
Bird missing, and Parrish got position. Puts it down on Lambier, but loses it. And here come the Pistons.
3 on 2.
Tyler spins.
Oh, I got my arm!
Poor percentage shot. That was excellent defense that time by Larry Bird. Dennis Johnson just got away with a carry.
Rises up with a jumper and misses. Parrish is there. And Benson fouled him. That's the second personal on Kent Benson. Ainge returns for the Celtics. Williams with a nice ovation here from the crowd. They've appreciated not only what he did this afternoon, but how he performed against the Cavaliers. That's 18 first-half points for the Chief.
Here's a pick and roll. Pick and roll with Lambier. Earl Strom has an illegal defense.
Now he's all even. He can let him play.
You know,
Of course, officials never do that either.
No, of course not.
Tripucka has returned for Detroit. So it's Tripucka, Thomas, Lambier, Benson, and Long on the floor for Dallas.
Isaiah. See, Chuck Daly feels that anytime that Isaiah Thomas is out of sync, maybe not getting some good shots, the type of shots that he would like them to get, they will call a play where they will post Isaiah in the low hole versus Danny Ainge or any of the guards. Because he's so competitive down there, they know that he'll fight and get the ball and get off a fairly decent shot or maybe get fouled.
Finally breaks through here in the second period. 52-47 Celtics lead. We've got 3:50 to go. Matt O'Brien will have some highlights. The Jazz victory over the Rockets. Also what the 76ers did to the Bucks. That'll be coming up. John McLeod with some expertise from New York. McHale spins inside with a pretty move. Loose.
Kevin McHale just left his defensive man flat-footed. For all the young players watching, you know, you ought to zero in on Kevin. He doesn't have great quickness for a big man, but he has beautiful moves. He never shows you the same move 2 times in a row.
Here's Bird playing with an injured elbow, and he'll dive right to the floor for a loose ball. And some that aren't loose here.
Well, everyone in the building knows that Larry Bird doesn't care about points, rebounds, assists, or anything. All he cares about the bottom line, the W.
Johnson will sit down. Wedman back in. They had a terrible time on that jump ball. Then Trapuka finally scoots it to the middle. And McHale has it and Long fouled it.
Now watch how high this ball goes in the air. You have Kevin McHale at 7-2 going against John Long, and that was almost a standoff.
Need a possession arrow in this game. They can't jump it any better than that. McHale.
See, when you absolutely front the low post player like that happened, and if you can pinpoint the pass, always pass the ball to the corner of the backboard. That way it will definitely clear the defensive player.
Long off to the side. Lanebeer fouled by McHale, I believe, on that side of the basket. That's his second. A couple of things are becoming obvious about the series so far, at least, Hubie, and that is that underneath the basket, Danny Roundfield and the Pistons are having a lot of difficulty with the quickness of the Celtics. However, Daly's bench appears to be deeper than K.C. Jones, which we had expected here. And that can wear you down over the long haul of a 7-game series. But that quickness factor underneath, they're going to have to help out a lot for the weak side.
An interesting stat at this time in the game. We only have 3 minutes to go and a half. Detroit, who averaged 17 offensive rebounds a game against the Celtics this year in 6 games, have 1 offensive rebound. That is a staggering stat. If you do not get offensive rebounds, you're not going to get the other team in foul trouble, and you're not going to be shooting 30 foul shots a game. We had an offensive foul that time in a low post by McHale.
His third. Timeout in Boston. Work on his backswing, too, when you get him out in the golf course, Pat. He's got one of the slowest I've ever been around. Meanwhile, here in the Garden, Kevin McHale. 3 personal fouls, and what will K.C. Jones do now?
Well, right now, coming out on the floor, they're going to bring in Maxwell at this time. Now, you got to say this is interesting. Anytime that a player has a bad knee, he's been sitting. If I'm Detroit, I clear out and I take him one-on-one right now, and especially off the dribble.
Thomas to Long. Ainge went for it. Went to the ground. Pistons regain control. Thomas comes right down the middle. Missed the shot. Parrish rebound. The Celtics have 11 offensive rebounds to 4 for the Pistons, and the Celtics have outscored them on second chance points 14-5 here in the first half.
Here's the dangerous matchup right here. Excellent double team by Isaiah.
Ainge gets inside and goes to the floor. Cedric goes crashing to the floor as he squeezed the trigger.
See, Detroit's feeling the frustration right now of the offensive board work of the Celtics. Unfortunately for Detroit, they're leaving it up to maybe the one-man defensive rebound for them. They're going to possibly have to change their strategy and tell their guards, look, we know we can fast break, but you've got to come back in here and help out. If we're going to double team, then we need 2 players coming on the other side of the lane to help out on the boards.
You saw Curitan return, and again, if you just joined us, he is wearing that face mask because he suffered a broken nose in Game 3 against the Nets.
See, that time Cedric Maxwell received a rebound without leaving the floor. He has not been able to elevate in traffic for any pressure rebounds.
Trapuka and Bird collide. Offensive foul. Kelly can't believe it.
Well, I'll tell you, both referees definitely had a charge. Both referees had a charge. And right now, Paul Mihalik, you know, repays Trapuka for a little bit of, you know, Trapuka's animation here with a delay of game. Okay.
There's Maxwell. Thomas, no basket.
Well, they're calling Eddie rode him out off the dribble that time with his chest. I tell you, I felt that Ainge really had good position here. Watch this. Isaiah's going into the middle. Danny's riding him well. You see his arms are up. And any time, see, that's when a defensive player really gets, you know, how should I say, miffed. He's overmatched in quickness here. You're playing one of the really true accelerators off the dribble in Isaiah Thomas. You play him perfectly. Your arms are up above your shoulders, and you get a foul called on you for riding him with the lower part of your body. That's quite discouraging.
Again getting inside against that defense.
The way it's opening up is they're curling Bird off of Parrish, and you must honor Bird. And then they just step Parrish in on Curitan, and he has him down low. This is what they have to explore.
Parrish over the top, and that's his first foul.
See, Detroit must wear that out, Brent. Brownfield must come to life. He has got to say, look, Cedric, you've been sitting on the bench. You haven't been playing a lot of basketball, and you haven't had much playing time today. You have to guard me every time we come down this floor.
It's hard for you to get it out of your system that you're not playing the Celtics, isn't it?
Listen, our suits are in mothballs.
Bird comes down the baseline.
That was clinic style. Just a beautiful baseline move. And then what they tell all people when you cannot elevate, use pump fakes and clear the defensive players. Isaiah is holding out in 1-4. This is Chuck Daly said he will use this more in this series than he ever has before. Let Isaiah run the clock down and take them one-on-one.
Trapuka. Three-pointer. Brownfield.
We have 24 seconds on the regular clock. Boston will hold for 1. Let's see if they run the little curl again down below. First, they're going to run a pick and roll to get Isaiah off. Look for Bird inside low.
Baseline.
5 seconds for Isaiah. Three-pointer. Curitan, Bird clears, and that's the end of the first half with our score here. Boston 64, Detroit 53. Coming up at the half now, Pat O'Brien and John McLeod back in New York. They'll have highlights and reports of today's NBA action, plus a feature on the Los Angeles Lakers, rested but untested. And the NBA on CBS will return after these messages. Welcome back to Boston. I'm Brent Musburger along with Hubie Brown. And Hubie, tremendous domination by the Celtics in close to the basket.
Well, the rebounding is 31-15. And the Celtic front line of starters has out-rebounded Detroit 25-7.
Let's take a look at the points that have been scored now in the paint area on the floor.
Well, right now you have Detroit with 10 and Boston with 40. And I feel that when you look at the play which is going to be coming up, and here we're showing this is the curl move that we're talking about every time that Boston sets up the offense. Here comes Bird off of Parrish on the left side of the screen. Now watch Parrish step in strong versus Cureton and just take him to the basket. See, Cureton must challenge that shot as much as possible.
And at the offensive rebounding edge, it's 13-6. The Celtics over the Pistons. And how about Laimbeer and Roundfield? Their defensive rebounds, none for their starting center. Second chance points, 16-7. Celtics over the Pistons. And we're ready to start the second half.
Well, I don't think there are any mysteries when you look at stats like that. I mean, there is no way that you can play a playoff game against a quality team and not be down on the road.
Dennis Johnson, Parrish, Bird, Ainge, and McHale take the floor now for the NBA champion Boston Celtics.
Pick and roll.
Trying to win back-to-back titles for the first time since '69. Same story.
Well, see, that time they ran a pick and roll. Harris saw the rotation. He knew when the shot went up that even if it was missed, McHale had no one on the other side of the board. So if he did miss, he had an easy tap.
Puka ships to Long. Celtic rebound.
See, John Long is 5 for 15 right now, Brent. Long and Roundfield must get in the game offensively.
2 for Bird.
Number 33 is coming to life.
Thomas gives it up to Parrish, and the Pistons are rattled.
This is a big offensive set. They're up 15 right now.
McHale. Thomas. He's jumped past it to Puka.
That was beautiful. Kelly kept coming. And you know, when you're playing with an unselfish point guard, you'll always run the lanes and complete the fast break because you know the man will get you the ball. That was beautiful.
There's Parrish with 21 first half points along with 11 rebounds. Give it back to Bird.
Here's that pick and roll again. Detroit needs some defensive igniting here to pick up the tempo of the game and get some easy hoops.
Long. Parrish quickly to Dennis Johnson. Ainge.
You know, Brent, Danny Ainge has an excellent frame of mind today. I thought in the Cleveland series last Sunday that he was hesitant. Today, he's flowing beautifully with his shot.
Laimbeer fouled him. That's 4 personals on Laimbeer. Timeout in the Boston Garden, and the Celtics are beginning to pull away. No question about Boom Boom Mancini's heart. That should be an interesting film coming up on CBS this week. What a story he's lived through. Here now in the Boston Garden. I want to remind everybody that at the conclusion of the game, QB and I will select the light beer most valuable player of the game, and in conjunction with the award Light Beer from Miller will present a check for $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in the player's name. Laimbeer has played only 14 minutes, 1 point and 1 rebound.
Well, he's the heart and soul of the defensive rebounding. He's right up there in the top 3 in the league, averaged 12 a game, and against the Celtics in 6 games averaged 11. Here's the curl play again. They're trying to put Parrish against Roundfield.
Traveling.
Good call. He had him the first time, and he took the extra step. He shuffled, moved the pivot foot, trying to get Roundfield to elevate.
Thomas quickly gets in and goes to the left hand off the drive.
See, what's interesting is Isaiah's getting in there, but the other offensive player is not opening a passing lane. His man is doubling Isaiah, and he's not creating a shot for himself.
Parrish almost put it back, and McHale does.
There it is. Every loose ball, garbage time, Boston Celtics.
That's why they hang banners here in the Boston Garden.
I'll tell you, in this game today, they've gotten everyone that's been on the floor at their offensive end of the floor.
Tripucka gives it to Roundfield. I can remember days when Roundfield would have thundered the glass with that. He would have gone about 3 feet off the floor and jammed it off somebody's head.
And always left-handed. All right, here comes the curl again. This time, Bird popped out for the same effect.
And Parrish sinks it.
As they say, Robert is on a roll.
Something wrong with Roundfield's eye.
Well, it happened in the exchange at the other end of the floor when McHale put the ball back in. He was either hit with an elbow or caught a finger in the eye. Here's Isaiah off a double. The Celtics did a great job of switching. The Celtics are playing all the baseline screening, switching, and not worrying about any mismatches.
McHale. If they're going to let the front line score like that, it won't matter how the guards play here in Boston.
Well, you know, they're not doing with chopped liver. I mean, we're talking about some talent here.
That's 4 personals on McHale. He'd like to have that move back.
See, Chuck Daly's calling right now. Clear out for Benson over in the left-hand corner and take McHale off the dribble. Now watch Bird. See if Bird comes on a double team. No.
McHale comes up with a block, even with the 4 personals.
That's right. You talk about meeting the challenge.
Gets it at the offensive end and jump hooks it in, and that's rising to the top. Tripucka right into the hands of Johnson. Bird off the drive. Crashes into Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, Thomas is hurt. You really got it on the left wrist. Maybe a finger now. It might be a dislocated finger. Now, in high school and college, he might have gotten this. Maybe. All right? You know, he was moving a little bit. Definite block. But here's the injury.
2:30 Eastern Time next Saturday. Western semifinal. Utah against either Denver or San Antonio. They will play Game 5 tonight. The Eastern semifinal, of course, on Sunday. We'll have the Celtics against the Pistons, and then Milwaukee against Philadelphia, or the Lakers against Portland. That'll be at 3:30 Eastern Time next Sunday. Isaiah Thomas apparently took this blow in the groin area. The fingers are not seriously injured. You can see as he stood in there, he took the blow to the groin area and was shaken up. Now coming back after that rest with 18 points. It's 78-63. And the Pistons will have to regroup with an inside game to muscle their way back in here.
Well, they have to begin to stop the Celtics on the offensive board. Right now, Boston has 20 points to Detroit's 7. Now, you can come down and take all these perimeter shots you want to, but if you're missing, you must get the offensive boards and establish some kind of, you know, foul problems for Boston when you're taking that shot inside of 6 feet in the second effort.
Maxwell is going to get a second test for that knee, which underwent arthroscopic surgery back in February. He scored 4 points in the first half, 1 field goal, and a pair of free throws. Roundfield moving inside, travel.
He did. He shuffled his feet. Both refs picked that one up. You know, Chuck is feeling the frustrations right now. There's no doubt about that. You know, he's running what he wants to get with key people at times, and unfortunately for them, they're getting nothing but turnovers or missed shots.
over to Detroit. Ainge saw Thomas in the air and tried to go underneath his legs with that pass. Danny knocks the ball out of bounds at the other end with Earl Curitan watching, and that damaged nose, and that's what can happen when somebody like Buck Williams accidentally elbows you. It's a wonder Billy Pultz didn't suffer a broken nose. Long going to the left hand, knocked away, out of bounds. So Frank Layton says it was the punch that ignited the Jazz in that game, Hubie.
Well, whatever it was, it's a great tribute to their ball club. When you lose a guy like Eaton for 2.5 quarters and you beat a team on the road, and especially a great rebounding team like Houston, your kids are laying it on the line for you.
Parrish. Ainge gets an offensive rebound. Even the guards are coming away with a second chance for the Celtics. Maxwell. Pistons are also taking a physical beating in this game.
Isaiah took a blow to the eye, to his left eye. Bird hit Thomas accidentally, caught him in the eye.
Here is the replay of the incident underneath the basket. Thomas jumping back, got a hand on it, and you could see Larry came down with his right hand in the facial area. One thing about Larry Bird, he has proven not only is he a great player, but he's one of the toughest guys in this league. I'll tell you who I compare him with, and Detroit fans are going to remember him so very well. I compare him with the great Gordie Howe. You go down into the corners with Larry Bird, folks, and you're going to come out second best, just like you did against Howe. Let me tell you right now. Knocked away from Benson. Here's Ainge.
The Celtics defensive rotations today are just beautiful to watch. They're getting a piece of everything.
Isaiah watching with his injured eye.
That's Bird at his best. He exhausts every pass and then throws the fade.
Johnson has that flat shot.
Well, Vinny had a good first half. He was 3 for 5 in 8 minutes and really gave them a shot in the arm.
This is like Philadelphia and Milwaukee. 76ers dominated inside, pulled away steadily from Milwaukee. Parrish. Los Angeles did the same thing to Portland yesterday, except they just sort of ran away with that express train out west.
Well, things like that happen in the first game, but everyone makes the adjustments, and the teams get over the initial shock of the first game, and then the game plans, each coach will add, and they might change their defensive philosophy.
Johnson missing, and Bird crashed into Roundfield that time.
I got 33.
That's Larry's second. Williams replaces Ainge for Casey Jones. Bird knocks it away from Benson, and here comes Williams. Johnson back on defense. Maxwell. You can feel the crowd come alive every time Maxwell makes a positive move. They know how important he is. Cedric Maxwell showed a little speed this time coming down the floor, but it's that Celtic defense.
Watch the excellent anticipation by Bird. There's the strip. Now, for all young players, look at Cedric Maxwell hustling now. Ray leaves it short, but this is winning basketball. There he is right there. Bad knee, could have pulled up at half court, but he gave it the all and chased down the floor.
They've had some rebounders who never jump on this floor. Remember Paul Silas?
The object of the game is to get him.
He did, and Thomas gets that field goal for the Pistons. Or Chuck Daly broke out a new $600 suit for this game. Game 1. Look at him. He'll never wear it again.
He's really going to like that one.
Best dressed coach in America. I mean, he's so dapper. To get the Celtics on national television. And a foul on Laimbeer. That is the 5th personal foul, and he's had a nightmare.
Pick and roll now. Bird and Parrish.
Gets inside. Wouldn't stay down. Maxwell stays with it. Bird, three-pointer, put it down. Vinnie Johnson. Thomas knocks the ball out of bounds. I think a lot of folks came to the television set of the Boston Garden thinking it was time to bury the Boston Celtics, but they are serving notice here against Danny Roundfield and Laimbeer that they are still the champions until you beat them.
Well, this is a different type of series for them, Brent. When they played Cleveland, Cleveland has the rebounding, the physical people, the shot blockers. This is an express game. It's played in the open floor. The other team is looking to go perimeter jump shooting, right? And they're having a bad shooting day. Where in the Cleveland series, even when there was bad shooting, it was down inside.
Fouls on Maxwell. Great defensive hustle underneath the glass that time. Stayed right with every shot, even though they lead 90-69.
The Celtic defensive game plan has been outstanding. They're getting a great effort from their players.
Three-pointer misses by Thomas. Bird with still another rebound. Here's Williams. Maxwell.
Beautiful pass. Beautiful pass by Ray. Maxwell was in the 3rd lane that time, and the defensive man never saw him coming.
Bird looks outlet. Here's Johnson.
Another 3-on-2.
Bird. Thomas. Parrish. Williams.
Oh, 4-on-1.
Bird. Maxwell.
At the top of the show, we said that the Celtics are the most dangerous when you score. See, that's how they humiliate you. They jump out of bounds, and the player releases early. Not only does he get 2, that's frustration right there. That's a frustrated foul. The pass went over your head. You're supposed to be back as the guard. The guy is going in. You're getting beat by 25, and you get that foul. It's a tough foul for you. You know that you're on, it's a national TV game. It's the first game in a big series, and nothing is going right for you. They took a quick 20 seconds to try to regroup. Let's face it, we still have another quarter to go and 1 minute and 18 seconds, and we have Boston right now at their game. No one plays park ball better.
Technical foul was assessed against Detroit. the floor for the Celtics. So it is Scott Wedman, Parrish, Williams, Johnson, and Maxwell, with Bird getting a break. And Johnson steals the ball from Vinnie Johnson.
Well, that time Dennis Johnson was hiding behind the inbounds player. Anticipated the pass. Beautiful play by Ray.
Parrish.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson.
Vinny's having an excellent day today. He's getting his type of shots and he's burying them. We have 35 seconds for the quarter.
Carrington to Johnson. Maxwell to Johnson.
The toughest thing when you're coaching a team that's getting blown out is that you're trying to regroup them defensively. You're trying to get the thought across to them. You can't come back offensively. We must do it defensively first in order to create the easy opportunities. It sounds simple, but very, very difficult, especially when you're on the road.
Johnson. The third, with the Celtics having reached 101 points. And we'll return after these messages from your local stations.
This is CBS. The NBA on CBS. Today's playoff game is sponsored by Miller Beer. Miller, made the American way since 1855. The people of AT&T Communications. Peerless faucet installs in no time, last a long time. And by Century 21 Real Estate Organization.
Welcome back to the Boston Garden. I'm Brent Musburger along with Hubie Brown. It's been a clinic time in the pivot as far as the Celtics are concerned.
Well, let's face it, this is going to be the key matchup in the series. If it's not the key matchup, it's one of the top two.
Tyler. Misfiring. McHale gives to Williams. Maxwell today with 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 of them offensively off the bench for K.C. Jones. Williams. Perhaps you're wondering, will he put Maxwell back in the starting lineup and bring McHale off the bench? He told me yesterday, no, he will not do that. Maxwell and he had a meeting. They decided to go the rest of the way with McHale as the starter because he's been playing so well, and Maxwell will be the 6th man the rest of the way. Williams.
See, that time on the first miss, Detroit had their big forward and center right in, and neither guy left his feet for the rebound. We have Isaiah in a one-on-one. I tell you, give Ainge credit that time. That's the second time in this game where he's been beaten off the dribble, but he's been able to reach from behind. He never gave up on his man and gotten a piece of the ball to go off of Isaiah Thomas.
Good anticipation by Williams on the steal.
Going to Maxwell over here.
And finally to Wedman.
Well, I think that the Celtics did an outstanding job in the Cleveland series of making the second pass on a double team. And that's what we just saw there.
Cavaliers have to feel awfully good about themselves along about right now.
Well, listen, their organization did a fine job. From the coaching staff, excellent game plans, instilling their confidence into their ball club, and then all of their players giving 100%. Let's face it, they lose 3 games by a total of 7 points.
And of course, the playoff action continues to heat up now, and CBS will have games for you next Saturday and Sunday as Maxwell is fouled that time. And that's the first foul on Tyler. We've got a timeout at the Boston Garden. We'll be right back. So here's the action next Saturday that I alluded to. The Utah Jazz, who upset Houston today in the 5th game. Frank Layden will take the Jazz against either Denver or San Antonio. They play game 5 tonight in Denver. Hubie, who do you like in that game? I guess we've got to give Denver a slight edge because they're at home.
Because of the home court. But in the opening 2-game series, after getting beat by 30 in game 1, San Antonio comes back and wins a close game in game 2 at Denver. So, you know, San Antonio, the key players, Artis Gilmore, George Gervin, Mitchell, they've been in many great series over the years, ABA, NBA. So, you know, the court at this time, people, I think, have a tendency to give a little bit too much to the home court advantage.
Now on Sunday, Hubie, here's where we're going to be for you. The Celtics will be playing these Pistons. That figures to be game 4 in the series back in Detroit at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Then you and I will be in Philadelphia, Milwaukee against the 76ers, who looked awfully tough in winning the first game of that Eastern Conference semifinal earlier today. And the rest of you will see the Western semifinal between the Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers. And the Lakers have been on a roll, haven't they?
Oh, they're playing great basketball. And, you know, last year they did not have McAdoo and Wilkes. The year before, McAdoo and Worthy. And at this time, everyone is healthy.
Maxwell told me before the game that the best present he could give his mother on her birthday today was to hang in there and play about 20 strong minutes. And he's getting it done. Johnson gets inside for the Pistons.
Well, this is a great day for Maxwell. Forget the points and the rebounds. What he has done so many things today that he has not done in months. And that is a psychological. He must get over the block. And that happens to many athletes. You're afraid to make some moves that you used to do, you know, before you got all of this time. Oops. Haynes wanted it in the low back that time.
You may have heard that.
Maybe a little bit of Hollywood that time to go along with the push.
Well, you know things are going well when Kite checks in early in the 4th, and Maxwell will get an ovation. Here's Greg Kite, number 50. Like Ainge, played his college basketball at Brigham Young. Ainge, of course, a former Major League third baseman with the Toronto Blue Jays, but opted for basketball. Obviously, that was his better sport of the two. McHale is in behind the defense.
Benson was looking to double team the dribbler, and when he took his eye off of McHale and went for the double team, McHale released and went right to the front of the rim. That was great eye contact by Danny Ainge, the point guard, and the man releasing.
So K.C. Jones, who was an assistant coach under 3 head coaches with the Celtics for 5 years, is now in his 2nd year as the top man, and he's trying to win back-to-back NBA titles. He won back-to-back NCAA titles playing alongside Bill Russell. Kite gives it to Ainge. Benson to Johnson.
There's Isaiah Thomas on the baseline.
Isaiah Thomas from Vinnie Johnson.
Psychologically, Hubie, when you get blown out of the first game of a series, as Milwaukee did, and what's happening to Detroit here, how does that affect you the rest of the way? Do you tend to dig in and work harder in game 2?
Last year in the 2nd round, we came into this building, New York Knickerbockers, got beat by double figures in game 1, by double figures in game 2. Now, everyone said the Celtics are going to do it in 4. You go back, and you go back into the workshop. And your ball club must say, we were winning definitely game 3 at home if that should happen to you. Now, we were beaten bad. But we came back and won game 3 and 4, and then the series was up for grabs. You go 7. Every player out here knows this is only 1 loss. you forget about today. Today's a bad day. All of your good workmen, the guys who have gotten you here, they've put together 2 500 series for the first time in the history of the Detroit franchise. You don't do that with guys that aren't winners. They're winners. They'll come back. They'll have a new game plan. Everybody will get his game together, and that's what he has to look to.
The other side of the coin, the Celtics have to be more confident than they were at any time in the Cleveland series because of baskets like that by McHale. They've been able to get the ball inside for easy field goals here this afternoon. Whip pass by Thomas to Benson.
See, the Celtics like this style of game due to the fact that you're not running into the Beef Brothers down inside. You can cut to the basket and you're not getting a forearm or a body on you. So we're in a Cleveland series. They were not allowed to get out and run and do all of their things like we're seeing here today. Freelance, everybody free and easy.
Are the Pistons capable of making it more of a grind out affair?
Well, I'm not so sure that they're what we would say a great half-court patient team. They want to get into the flow because that's also their strength. But I think that they will reorganize, maybe play a little bit more half-court basketball.
Tony Campbell, he's the only rookie on the team. He checked into the lineup.
Brooks Steppe. We now have Vinnie Johnson and Brooks Steppe at the guard position. Campbell at small forward.
If this continues, we can get some of these fans to suit up and go out there for a while, too.
Vinny was looking for the pick and roll, but Lambier never rolled.
Big moment for Steppe. Gets his first shot attempt down in a playoff game in the Boston Garden. Historically, the Detroit Pistons have not fared well in the NBA playoffs. They have never in their history won a 7-game playoff series. They've been involved in 5 of them. Ainge. Got a timeout. Quinn Buckner due to check back in for the Celtics. When you return, we've got 6 minutes and 28 seconds. The Celtics have conducted a clinic.
Coverage of the NBA playoffs continues next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Here's the situation in the NBA. The Celtics leading the Pistons, and earlier today, Moses Malone tossed in 27, and Philadelphia shut down Milwaukee 127-105. And Adrian Dantley scored 25, and Utah eliminated Houston 104-97.
What happened here is it was Detroit's ball out of bounds. Instead, the referee gave the ball. The Celtics took the ball out, laid it up, and laid it in.
Maybe it is true that the Celtics do get all the breaks from the referees, do you suppose? Campbell with the field goal.
Here we have Quinn Buckner now. This is his first playing time today.
Wedman. Campbell hit Steppe.
Well, the Boston guards are 10 for 21 in this game, and I know that the coaching staff is quite pleased. They had a difficult time percentage-wise, but played an excellent defensive series with Cleveland, and here they're getting on track.
McHale hit Detroit with 56 earlier in the year, and here this afternoon he scored 26. Kite out to Williams. McHale with 26, Bird with 21, Parrish with 27. Front line just overpowering the Pistons. Buckner.
10 seconds on the shot clock.
Johnson. McHale rebounding.
Vinnie Johnson's coming off that pick and roll and looking for the postman to roll. Instead, Lambier is stepping back, and they're giving the man with the ball a little bit of pressure.
Benson, a hand on the ball, forces the turnover. Gets it back on the pass from Campbell. Muscles in and is fouled by Williams.
The only player who's had success today gambling over the back. Here comes one of the favorites here in the Boston Garden, Emil Carr. He has been injured. So, going back to the defense, Detroit gambled all day and was burned heavily because the Celtics posted up strong, would catch the defensive player on the top side, lob the pass, and score easily. Benson has been the only one who has anticipated the angle of the pass and freed the ball to start a transition attack. I thought Benson has played very well today, and so has Vinnie Johnson.
Williams. Almost stolen by Williams.
Ray, that was good anticipation.
Steppy fouled by Buckner.
That was a clothesline. That reminded Buckner of his days as a football player.
That's right. Played at Indiana before giving up the sport to concentrate exclusively on basketball. He was a member of that great Indiana team coached by Bobby Knight along with Kent Benson. They were teammates on that Hoosier Ball Club.
Buckner
Abernathy was on that team. May was on that team. Wilkerson was on that team.
Green. Steve Green played in the ABA. Carlos Clark replacing Ray Williams.
All these players that you and I did a lot of homework on.
Ah, well, Carlos Clark had his shot. They went with him early in their three-man rotation, and unfortunately for the young man, he had a little difficulty, and that's the reason why they went for the signing of Ray Williams. Ray has played extremely well for them, so now he's kind of buried as the fifth guard, because the fourth guard would be Quinn Buckner.
Campbell. Taps it in.
It's one of those days. It doesn't matter who goes to the offensive board. It can be a guard, a small forward. They eventually get a piece of the ball and keep it alive. Tough shot by Earl that time. Very difficult. Buckner's doing a nice job with this group. He's setting up the offense, you know, getting them to realize, hey, we're not going to run up and down the floor. Let's get the most out of the seconds that we're getting out here.
2 minutes and 54 seconds to go here in the Boston Garden. This is game one of an Eastern Conference semifinal, and the Celtics well on their way to open up a 1-0 lead. Next Saturday, of course, 2:30 Eastern time. You can tune in on the Western action. The Utah Jazz, are they for real? They'll take on either Denver or San Antonio. And then, of course, we'll have the doubleheader for you on Sunday afternoon. Well, there's Red Auerbach, and all the many years that I've been around the Boston Garden, and he's been the general manager and president of this ball club, I've never seen Red miss a practice. He sits here and he watches everything that goes on. He contributes to the success that coaches like Tommy Heinsohn and K.C. Jones have had, and it's nice, Hubie, to have somebody in the front office who's extremely knowledgeable about what's going on around the league. That works to the benefit of the Boston Celtics, I'm sure. Now we've got
at yesterday's practice, we saw him take different players on the side and give them a critique, offer, you know, definite positive suggestions to their game. And it was nice because it was to a few of the guys who needed a confidence and an uplift. And it was nice to see him take that time. But most important, at no time did he ever overstep the bounds as being not on the floor as a coach.
I use a football analogy. He reminds me somewhat of Al Davis. Davis is always around the Raiders helping out. Not that Red is about to move the Celtics to Hartford. I do see similarities in their leadership techniques. Sheraton rebounding. Here's Vinny Johnson.
Oh, that was a great steal. Beautiful steal by Buckner. Taking it strong.
Buckner comes on through for the layup.
The fans love it here when ML gets involved physically. That's not needed today. But, you know, they love it when he takes the three-point field goal shots because he really makes a high percentage.
Gilby, you know what impresses me about the Celtics is they'll play whatever style you want. If you want to go physical, bump and grind like Cleveland preferred, all right, let's get it on. And if you want to go wide open, thoroughbred racehorse basketball like Detroit prefers, they can do that too.
Well, it's a beautiful team to watch because they're totally unselfish. They have the power low game, and then they hurt you because of their perimeter game. And then the best passer on the team is a forward. That gives you another dimension that other teams do not have, meaning Larry Bird. When things bog down, your two guards do not have to get it done for you. He can handle and make the play. Scotty Wedman's a great story, I think. We're talking about a really fine young man. And he has the ability to sit on the bench, long periods of time, and all of a sudden there'll be a key injury, and they just crank up his number, and they get incredible results.
Carr and Clark. Tap by Kite.
Coaches always like it when it gets to this time in the game. The guys that you put out there play unselfish. Play together as a team defensively, and then when you make the fast break, give it up. Don't be a hog. Make everybody feel good. Now that was a beautiful ball fake. A beautiful ball fake. The defensive man committed and went back, and when Carlos Clark made the shot, Buckner gave him a wave. That's nice.
Johnson down the middle for the Pistons. He's had his playoff high here this afternoon. That's 20 points for Vinny Johnson.
See, Quinn's yelling for Zipper. He wants one of the old standard plays right now. Yes.
Most valuable player of game one of this series is Robert Parrish. He set the tone early for the domination inside by these Celtics. Wound up with 27 points and 16 rebounds. And Light Beer from Miller is proud to present a check for $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Foundation on behalf of Robert Parrish. We got a post-game show coming up. Highlights from games earlier. We'll talk to some of the players back here. But right now, let's go to New York. And here's Pat O'Brien. Pat?
All right, Brent, thank you very much. So Boston, John McLeod, for the first time, looks like the world champions if they are.
They thoroughly dominated the game, Pat. There's no doubt about that. A lot was written about the fact that Boston had not played well in the Cleveland series. I think they put that to rest in this first game against Detroit.
What do you do now if you're Detroit? Do you just go in and say, well, we got our rear ends kicked today and get back together for the next game?
Pat, basically that's it. This game is over with. They certainly are going to learn from it. They'll have to stop the inside game of Boston. Hopefully Detroit can get some easy baskets off the break themselves.
All right, Coach, let's, at the end of today right now, let's bring everybody up to date on what's going on right now. Let's look at the Eastern brackets first as Boston jumps out to a 1-0 lead in that series. In the other section of the brackets, Philadelphia, earlier today on CBS, jumped out to a 1-0 lead by defeating Milwaukee Bucks 127-105. Philadelphia and Milwaukee, and Don Nelson, he was frustrated all day long as the 76ers had their game together almost everywhere. Here's Malone with the rebound, goes out to Andrew Toney. He drives in for the layup. Now, Boston, or Philadelphia rather, can come at you a lot of ways, and a lot of those ways are Moses Malone. There he is underneath with a little shuffle basket, and I don't know what Billy Cunningham isn't smiling about because they were doing it all this afternoon. There they are inside again, and Charles Barkley with a huge slam as they go on to win that game. And Barkley's going to be a force in this series.
No doubt about that. Philly looks awfully strong. Pat, if they can win one more, it'll be tough for Milwaukee.
All right, what's Don Nelson saying to his players now?
Well, Don Nelson is saying that we can obviously play much, much better than what we did today, and he knows what he has to do. The important thing is Milwaukee needs to get this game Tuesday night. They don't want to go back to Philly 0-2.
Hubie Brown was talking to Brent Musburger earlier today, and he was talking about the home court advantage. Of course, it worked for Boston, but in the other two games, it did not today.
Pat, I'm inclined to agree with Hubie. I think the home court advantage is negligible in the playoffs. The Utah-Houston series proved that. In the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game, regardless of what the crowd does, you must execute. The fans can stand on their feet and stop and yell, but you must execute defense and offense.
You don't like to hear that crowd cheering for you? They'll show up again. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to take a look at the Western picture and then send you back up to the Boston Garden for some post-game interviews and information as CBS Sports coverage of the 1985 NBA playoffs continues after this. Stay with us.